The Deadly Cave from Alien Adventures. Let's start. Chapter 1. Desert Heat. Tiger patted himself down. What happened? I think, said Ant, adjusting his glasses, the ship teleported us down to planet Moxor. Tiger frowned. We were in danger, said Seven. The engine room was overheating. The others were safely on the bridge of the ship. Tiger's eyes were dazzled by the bright surroundings. Yellow sand stretched out around them as far as they could see. How will we ever find them? Asked Tiger. I'll try to contact the ship. Seven pressed his button. Come in, Excelsa. Excelsa, come in. They waited, but there was no response from their friends. The only sound was the moan of the desert wind. The ship can't be far away, said Ant. We were within Moxor's atmosphere when we beamed down. Tiger looked all across the barren landscape. I guess we'd better start searching then. They grew back to normal size and set off across the hot sand. It wasn't long before they became tired and needed to rest. Did you know that Moxor has 3 suns? Said Seven, trying to cheer them up. That's why it's so hot, complained Tiger, and he collapsed to the ground. Ant tipped the last drop of water from his flask into his mouth. Ant spotted a tall blue cactus not far away. You can get water from cactus plants on Earth. Maybe it's the same here, he said. They made their way over to the cactus. Tiger stood in its cooling shadow, while Ant studied it carefully. He reached out to touch the giant plant. I think the way to get the water is... Whoosh! The spiky arm of the cactus swiped down towards him. Look out! Cried Tiger, and ducked to avoid the blow. He stumbled and fell to the ground. Above him, the prickly cactus arm flexed, ready to swing down again. Ant felt a firm grip around his wrist. In a swift movement, Seven stretched his arm and pulled Ant to safety. The cactus arm swung heavily through the air, just missing him. Almost immediately, the cactus became still once more. It doesn't look like we're going to get water from that plant, said Ant. Water or no water, we need to keep going. It's nearly midday. The sun will be even hotter then, said Seven. Even hotter? Groaned Tiger. Then he spotted some rocks in the distance. Maybe we can shelter by those, he said. When they reached the rocks, however, they found that the stones formed the entrance to a cave. Ant, Tiger, and Seven entered the cool cave. They were about to settle down to rest when Ant signaled them to be quiet. I think I hear something, he whispered. They crept further in the cave and peered round for a bend. As their eyes adjusted to the dim light, they could make out 2 strange aliens. They had long, rubbery arms and legs covered in a tough, elastic skin. They babbled to each other in a strange language. Moxorians, whispered Seven. Are they friendly? Asked Ant. Seven shook his head. Should we run for it? Tiger asked. Let's just back away very quietly, said Ant. Tiger took a step back. His foot knocked against a loose rock, which clattered to the ground. The noise echoed round the cave. The murmuring alien voices suddenly stopped. Tall shadows crept against the cave wall towards them. All of a sudden, the Moxorians appeared from around the bend. One of them was swinging a beaming rope of energy above his head. Seven gasped. "An energy lasso," he said. "Now, should we run?" Tiger asked. "Yes!" cried Ant. They turned and sprinted away. They had nearly reached the mouth of the cave when they heard the fizz and the crackle. The energy's lasso wide loop fell over the three of them. The rope exploded into an energy cage. They were trapped. More and more Moxorians were emerging from the darkness. They gathered in a group around the cage. Ant and Tiger pressed the buttons on their watches to shrink. "The watches aren't working," said Ant. "The suns must have affected them." Moxorians information. The heat on Moxor makes the Moxorians very bad-tempered. They mostly shelter in caves during the hottest part of the day. Moxorians are also known to be very greedy. Habitat: Moxorians live in a network of cool caves in the desert. Diet: Moxorians eat blue cacti called the grumpus plants. They have learned how to avoid the plant spikes. Large mouth for roaring loudly. Thin, bendy limbs. Large, powerful hands and feet. Now I'm going to tell you a secret recipe, which you can make from this grumpus, but be careful so it doesn't hit you. Grumpus recipes. The Moxorians have over 100 recipes from this weird grumpus plant. The most famous one of these is grumpus stew. Now, if you want to make it, you might need this plant, just a little bit bigger, or the size would be okay. It is made out of, get ready, the plant's red thorns and itself. It's going to be blue and red because of the thorns, and guess what? It's mixed with the Moxorian saliva. Ew, I wish they hadn't added this in their recipes. The Moxorians babble to each other in strange mummers and screeches. "What are they saying?" Tiger asked. "I am sure I can translate," said Seven. He concentrated for a moment. One of the Moxorians pointed at Seven and screeched again. A worried look appeared on Seven's face. "They want to take me to a place called the Sea Stripe, and they want to sell me to their leader," he said. "No way," said Tiger. "We need to get out of this cage now." The Moxorian who had captured them began to drag the cage further into the cave. The air became colder the deeper they went. "Look," Ant whispered, holding his arm out to Tiger. "The watches are working again. It must be the cold air." Tiger and Ant pressed their buttons and shrank. "Quick, run!" called Tiger. The boys squeezed through the bars at the back of the cage. "Wait!" Ant skidded to a stop. "Seven's not with us." They turned to see that Seven was still trapped behind the bars of energy. He was lying on the ground. His arms were limp. "The energy cage must have drained him out of power," said Tiger. Seven began to disappear down the tunnel as the Moxorians continued to tow the cage away. "We can't leave him," said Ant. The two micro-friends activated their holoboard and flew after the Moxorian. Just then, Ant heard a noise. He skidded to a stop. What was that? Tiger looked down. His watch was flashing red. it meant that there was danger close by. A giant glowing red lizard emerged from the shadows in front of them. The lizard lashed out its tongue and ducked just in time. A stream of liquid hit the cave wall just behind him. He heard a sizzle. "Acid spit!" Ant cried. "Let's move," said Tiger, soaring over the head of the lizard. Ant followed close by. Another splash of acid hurled past them and melted a hole in the wall. More of the hissing lizards crawled out of the shadows as they zoomed past. They were flicking out their poisonous tongues. Ant noticed that they seemed to be reacting to the movement of their hoverboards. "Tiger, wait!" Ant called, but it was too late. Suddenly, a splash of acid hit Tiger's hoverboard with a fizz. His board disappeared and he fell to the ground. Tiger tried to scramble to his feet, but a long tail coiled around him. He thrashed his legs, trying to get free. Ant called. "Tiger, stay still!" Ant called. "The lizards are attracted to sudden movements. You need to stop struggling." Tiger knew it was a risk, but he listened to Ant. He kept every muscle in his body still. Soon he felt the grip of the lizard's tail loosen, and he rolled free. "We're going to have to turn back," said Ant. "We'll never get past those lizards. Walk very slowly. Any quick movements could start another attack." "Ready?" "Ready," Tiger whispered. Step by slow step, the boys crept backwards. As soon as they could see the light of the cave entrance, they burst into a sprint. It was the only way, but when they were outside, that they slowed down. "That was close," said Tiger, panting. They looked back to see the lizards crowded together in the mouth of the cave. "But they won't come any closer. They must hate daylight," said Ant, gasping for breath. "What should we do now? What about 7? said Tiger. "We'll save him," said Ant. Just then something in the distance caught his eye. It was a vapor trail from Excelsa. He grinned. "We just need some help first." The two boys grew back to normal size and activated their hoverboards. "Those Moxorians might be nasty," said Tiger, "but they'll be no match for all of us." Thank you for listening. Until next time, it was me, Mira. Oh, and actually, don't forget to cook a recipe from the Grumpus plant. Just don't forget to get it before you cook it. And cut it before you eat it. Until next time, it was me, Mira. Bye-bye!
Switch off your telly.